Jenni here.
Gaby here.
And we are going to give our reaction and response to an article about the show.
Articane.
You guys wanted to say the name?
Articane.
And so now you get to say
Articane.
in the beginning of our video. So, she says it so cutely too. Arcane. Okay, so this article is called Arcane Embraces Queer Aesthetics but Settles for a Maybe Ship. And then the subtitle says there was room to commit to the existence of LGBTQ plus characters. Alright, keep going. Okay, let's see. And here's part of the article we want to share with you. It says, Caitlyn and Vi are assumed to be queer in some way, even if that fact is couched in vagueness that shrouds what they are to each other. Vi calls the willowy sharpshooter Cupcake and points out that she's hot to get her to try and glean info from brothel clientele. Caitlyn looks at ease sitting next to the beautiful female patron, but there's never a discussion from either of them that actually illuminates their choice. So, what do you think about that?
I feel like she doesn't have to say it.
Yeah.
Like, if she said it, would it take away more from the fun that we got to experience?
Yeah, I think it was a lot more fun. It's like they say in good storytelling, you show, you don't tell.
True.
And so, in that instance, we were shown and not told that Caitlyn was interested in ladies. She, right before, or after that, rather, right after that little moment, I'm turning to Caitlyn like, what's happening? What's going on? Caitlyn in that scene.
Matilda.
I'm Matilda.
Oh,
Okay, my name is Matilda. Anyway, yeah. So when Vi grabs Pim and pulls Pim over, what was Caitlyn's reaction to Pim?
She was like awkward and she made up a fake persona because she's all of a sudden Matilda. Her body language was like, get me out of here. Right?
Yeah.
That's what I kind of felt like. She was like, I'm
She's
not
like-
into this.
Kind of stuttering and reaching for something.
I'm gonna
to
try
say.
my best, Vi, but I can't promise you anything with this.
Which, to be fair, like Vi did just throw
She
her
did.
into that without any preparation. She's like, all right, yoink,
Yeah, she grabs him and
in
then
her
he's-
very out there kind
But
of
that's
way.
how she is, right?
Yeah. So she
try to
grabs
distract her. Here you go. This is what you're gonna get your information out of. I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Here's something. Here's a pretty toy to distract you with. Well, I go get down to it. Which is kind of her way. To be
Yeah,
honest
it
with
is her
you,
way.
that's Vi's way. But we're not here to talk about that. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
We'll plan a future video. But anyway. Basically, she's not so comfortable with Pim, and then later they show her with a really cute lady who's like very scantily clad, and Caitlyn is leaning back looking like a boss, and just like looking real cool. She's like sitting like this or something, like, yeah, that's right, looking at the pretty lady.
And she's on her own, right? So
Yeah.
she ditched Pim,
Yeah.
and she found herself a really attractive lady friend.
Yes,
And a mask somehow.
And so yeah, it was, I think, really fun to see that all play out.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it seemed to me pretty clear
Yeah, me too.
that like that was the answer
That's
to
the
the
answer.
question that she asked and never got the answer to.
Yeah, you know, much more enjoyable that way. If she just said, hey, I like women, it's like, okay, that's great. But then they show us this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so much better.
Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so here, this is interesting. A writer for Articane, who noted their experience as a queer woman, explained in a Reddit comment that the lack term like gay in an aforementioned scenes was informed by an absence of segmentation for sexuality or presentation in Runeterra. But the assertion that the world is free from homophobia is undercut by the fact that the show spends very little time developing that idea. The script backs away from scaffolding anything that would make Vi and Caitlyn's relationship less ambiguous. Vi does ask Caitlyn who she prefers when they're in the brothel, but Caitlyn does not answer concretely.
So, yeah, like, that's technically true.
Yeah, she doesn't outright say it.
To me, honestly, I prefer that in stories like this that are very sci-fi inspired or fantasy inspired, I kind of prefer seeing people be like, oh yeah, like this is my preference, I like women.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite things about the show Lost Girl, was Bo, for the most part, I don't remember a time of anyone like being homophobic toward her.
No.
She just like, yeah, I just prefer women, and they don't make that a big plot point. It just kind of is who she is, and I feel like that's not very common, and I like it. And it might be because we live in a world that faces so much that, like, homophobia, like, we experience homophobia. So to think of a world where you don't have to deal with that, of course, in a fantasy setting, I prefer to watch that. I think it's enjoyable. I like to think and dream and hope for a world that's more like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to me, that's what makes me happy about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The next part says, most of our hopes for Caitlyn and Vi rest on how the two grow closer over the course of the show. Despite the pressure to distrust, Caitlyn strokes Vi's cheek while they lie on the bed. Oh, that was so sweet. Vi walks away from her angstily after a huge fight about their different worlds. These moments are definitely good relationship drama, but there's a strange tension that demands more explicitness in a way the show never fulfills. Arcane had a full-on sex scene between Jace and Mel after much less time spent interacting. Would it have been so hard to have Caitlyn chase after Vi and kiss her in the rain? A lot to take apart here.
Mm-hmm.
So they do grow closer. They didn't know each other before.
No.
So this is all like them getting to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
The whole season 1 is basically like going from I have no idea who you are, you're a complete stranger, to I have some kind of disdain for you and see you more as like a stereotype.
Yeah.
To getting to know each other and respect each other, like in a romantic and sexual tension filled way. Anything else you think about that?
I agree with that. I feel like what we've been seeing thus far is like letting us know, hey, these two are definitely like interested in each other. There are these little touches, these little looks. I mean, there's so many soft looks.
And they're really sweet.
And they're sweet.
And like, it's surprisingly sweet for these two who have only known each other for 3 days.
It's true.
It's really surprisingly tender.
Yeah, and I really do appreciate that. And it's just nice. And to me, I mean, it would have been, in my headcanon, yeah, great. Caitlyn kisses Vi in the rain, of course, that's sexy. But at the same time, this isn't where that belongs, right? Caitlyn is respecting her. She's not happy about it, but she's respecting her choice. She's not gonna run up and grab and kiss her. That's what fanfiction's for.
Yeah, I agree. I think Caitlyn isn't the type to, and I think that's what separates her from Powder/Jinx. Is that Powder/Jinx went after Vi, whereas Caitlyn is a different person. She's more secure and more respectful, and those are some of her main character traits. So I would have been really surprised to see her chase after someone after, even if it's Vi, after that someone said, no, I don't want she didn't say I don't want you, but she said like it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, just forget me.
Yeah, Caitlyn's not really the type to put herself in that position. I think in a way that would be like belittling. herself.
Yeah, it would have been definitely a character too. Like,
Yeah.
whoa, like what's going on here?
She has a lot of self-respect.
She does.
That's one of her main character traits. Wait. We missed the part in the middle there. These moments are talking about Mel
and Jace.
So I think that these two relationships are very different.
Oh, extremely.
First of all, Mel and Jace, they've known each other for much longer. By the time that they do get together, they've known each other for many years.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. And their whole relationship dynamic is much, much different.
Yeah, Mel's temptress, so you know.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, I mean, it could be said that Vi is a temptress in her own way.
In a sense.
Yeah, in a different way. But again, like, but their relationships are just so different.
There's different agendas too, though.
They're different people. I think Jace is a lot more impulsive in some ways than Caitlyn is. Caitlyn tends to think things through, and Jace, you know, he gets caught up in the moment, caught up in the excitement of what's happening more than Caitlyn seems to. She has her moments. Remember, like, when she was soothing Vi, when Vi had taken the potion, and she got caught up in the moment, and then she pulled
away. I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
So yeah, so I think that she kind of is more reserved. She has a more reserved in keeping to herself, even if she's hurt.
Yeah.
She's processing it internally rather than trying to chase after Vi. And that's the main thing about her character. She has self-respect.
She does. And I guess that's what fanfiction is for.
Alright, let's see.
Let's see, where's the next part here?
So it says the women's maybe ship would have passed a serious homoerotic tension several years ago, roughly around the time when development on the show started. And how many years was this in production?
6.
6.
It's a long time.
So that was, like, especially in these times, things seem to be changing a lot in that front. So that, I could see where that would be something to look into. It's like how have the times changed from the beginning when they first started working on this to now. However, animated shows have eclipsed this by now, especially with the advent of streaming. By contrast, major gaming studios still do not know how to grapple with the dynamics of even the most basic homosociality, much less crafting queer characters that go beyond the expectations of a straight audience. Riot didn't unveil its first LGBTQIA+ League champions until 2021. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
A few characters in its games have these concepts in their backstories or have been confirmed after the fact, but it's been very easy for the company to avoid the topic directly when so many of its games don't meaningfully engage in a narrative. Ruined King, a League of Legends story, is one of the first titles from Riot that goes in depth beyond snippets of lore on cards or in characters' sparks. So, noteworthy, neither of us played the game before we watched this show.
Nope.
So a lot of this, honestly, we don't know about. We just really liked what we saw in the show. Yeah. On top of that, the two showrunners and head writers for Arcane, Christian Linke and Alex Yee, were veteran creatives from the inside of the studio rather than screenwriters brought on to help flesh the world out. Speaking with the Washington Post, the two cited a lack of television adaptations of video games at the time they started work on Arcane, which meant they looked into things like Marvel Cinematic Universe and Game of Thrones for inspiration. Neither of these things nor Netflix is particularly known for pushing the envelope with regard to LGBTQIA+ issues. Okay, let's talk about this. Okay. Scrolling back up. So yeah, I definitely think that it's really cool that they did take, in other ways, not the LGBTQIA representation in Marvel, but I do think it's cool other ways that they were inspired by Marvel. And I think, was it you who had told me that that's kind of like how the interpretation of like what's canon and what's not could be interpreted. Maybe I watched a video on YouTube about this. I don't remember who it's from. If you know, put it in the comments and let me know. But they were saying that like much like the Marvel movies had taken inspiration from the comics but were considered sort of their own world. That's how Arcane is.
Yeah.
That it's taken inspiration from the show, or excuse me, the game, and then turned it into a show, but it's not that they're the same world. They're not in the same universe exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's cool that they did it that way. And I also enjoy Game of Thrones.
I mean, you can definitely see the Game of Thrones aspect when you watch the end of the first act, episode 3.
What do you mean by that, Sharon?
They just like killed off most of Vi's and Powder's family.
Yeah.
That's very Game of Thrones like.
It is, and like they kill off major
like major.
Was that in the first act? I don't.
At the end of the episode 3 of the first act,
okay.
when Powder's monkey bomb finally worked. Ooh.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, I thought of Game of Thrones when we first watched it. I was like, oh my god, this is like Game of Thrones. Because they don't pull any punches.
Yeah. I mean, I'm one of those. I like Game of Thrones until the end. But anyway,
Yeah,
that's
me
a whole
too.
other discussion.
Yeah.
But I do think that in that way it was cool.
Yeah.
But in terms of LGBTQIA plus issues, what do we think about Marvel?
Marvel is, yeah.
I think
I cringed when they talked about they always say they're first, right? When we were watching what was it? I think it might have been Endgame or Infinity War. It was Endgame. When we saw the AA and we saw that one guy saying that he was gay, and I was like, oh dear.
Yeah, I think we both cringed. We both like whispered to each other like, this is not what we said.
This is not
what we meant when we said we wanted some representation.
Yeah.
This is just not like, it's not a superhero. It's just like a guy complaining about his life and his problems.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing.
But I feel like, I don't feel represented by that.
No, not at all. Not at all. I was just like, this is your oh gosh, just no.
Yeah.
And I mean, apparently I haven't seen Black Panther, but apparently in Black Panther there's some LGBT side characters in it, so we may have to.
You haven't seen Black Panther?
No.
How have I seen that and you haven't?
I don't know. It just happens sometimes.
Alright.
Anyway.
Okay, somehow I saw Black Panther and you didn't.
Well,
yeah.
I saw some movies Marvel.
But then there's also, like, we could talk about Captain Marvel.
I was supposed to say that.
Which, it's like, this is so much more in your face than anything in Captain Marvel. I saw a video about how, and we can link this too, about Captain Marvel and how she was a lesbian set in the 90s originally, and so that's why all of her relationship stuff is so hush-hush. But yeah,
that makes sense.
but I honestly watched that and I didn't think about that at all. And the fact that I felt like this was blaringly like in my face, like they're becoming a couple. I think that this is so much further than that.
Yeah.
What representation was in Game of Thrones?
I mean, wasn't there like that thing with Dany? But oh, I know, there was that.
The sister
too, but then
the
apparently
warrior sister.
Her, and then apparently there was something with Dany with, I can't think of her name, but nothing ever came out of it.
Oh, it was like her servant.
Yes.
Where she like got up on her to teach her how to take care of her husband.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is
Okay.
probably not gonna amount to much of anything, but yeah. But the sister, she was like a pirate or something like that.
Yeah, she had some pirate vibes.
Yeah,
I don't think they called her.
Yeah, she was like a
but
pirate.
She had pirate vibes.
Yeah, she was.
She was real cool. I did like her.
Let's see here.
go to this one.
Okay.
If a show or game can keep any LGBTQIA plus representation ambiguous enough for queer people to put the clues together while not alienating its more conservative audience, then all we're left with is Schrodinger's canon, one that only reveals itself upon a viewer's perception. It can be ignored if so desired. I don't think that you can ignore this, especially the scene where Vi says you're hot cupcake.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that kind of thing, even though they're not in a relationship, I think that it's just so clear that both of these women like women and that they have so much interest in each other. And we did a video on the hug scene about taking that apart, and really we both agreed that like we wouldn't hug anyone like that except for each other, and we've been married for 2 years. Like, that's how you hug someone that you have deep romantic feelings for. So I think that you would have to be really, I mean, I'm gonna say there are people who can try and deny it.
Oh yeah.
And what did you say? So like,
oh, the people that have like that mean that they're just friends, or people that just completely think that there's nothing there. Like, I would totally talk to my friend that close, let me tell you, and be like this with the no.
And be like taking care of her.
Yeah.
She has like the potion.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of those scenes.
And like grabbing your hand after she touches my cheek. That's friendship.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think that those people, like, I'm sure they exist, and I'm sure that they're out there trying to spread this idea, but I also think that, in my opinion, it's laughable. And I think that most people who have any kind of, like, unbiased or even, like, neutral, like, anywhere, like, more in the middle kind of sense of approach to this are gonna be like, yeah, those chicks are gay. Like, they just are.
I mean,
yeah.
You know, I don't think yeah. I definitely don't agree with this.
With that notion.
Yeah, with that notion.
And then it says, it's too early to know how the next season of Arcane will pan out, but it's never too early to start demanding better. Riot is a very large, profitable company, and it shouldn't be scared to piss off its audience by daring to show two women kiss, much less making Runeterra more queer. It doesn't matter if it's bad for metrics, ratings, or critical appeal. We should want more, and it's the least Riot can do. It seems like you have something to say about this.
It's just not this first season. There's just so much going on. We're just getting to know these characters. Caitlyn and Vi, when would they have a moment? You want them to do like a rush kiss, and then like that's just not. It's just not okay. Like, it's not time for this, you know? Besides, all that Vi is thinking about really is trying to get her sister back.
Yeah. And I honestly really appreciated all of the sweet.
Yeah, I like the sweet.
Between the little cheek thing. No, the other one.
Oh, this one?
The thumb. Yeah, there you go. Ah!
Yeah, like, that was sweet.
It was so sweet and precious.
And
I
it's
feel
not subtext.
It's what?
It's not subtext.
It's not subtext, yeah.
Which is what we're used to.
I think we got really good moments. We
really did.
Sweet, affectionate times. And I don't think that this is a situation where I would try and demand more.
No.
I do expect that they're going to go into their relationship a whole lot more in the next season. And I think that they'll have to. And I'm really excited. There's just so much to take apart in their relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to making some more videos. We have some really good, exciting ideas that I haven't seen anyone talking about when it comes to Caitlyn and Vi's relationship. There's just so much to say. It's
just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very
beautiful.
well done.
Yeah, I felt like it was well done. And as a woman who dates women, I honestly feel like their relationship is the most represented that I've felt in any media ever. And that's saying a whole lot. Because even more than like the L word, even more than I relate to any of those characters, I feel like I relate to these individuals. Partially because, and this might be an effect of growing up in early 2000s, like in my teens was early 2000s, that like I feel like being queer isn't my whole identity.
Right.
You know, it's one thing about me. And I feel like that's the case for Vi and Caitlyn too. And they are main characters of the story, but they're not the main characters. There's a whole set of main characters, and the story follows all of them. So that's part of why I'm like, yeah, I feel like it kind of made sense that their relationship is building, and that there's more to come. I feel like for where they are in their relationship right now, it all kind of made sense. And I feel like their relationship grew so much in deeper ways. So it didn't necessarily grow. It did grow somewhat physically, and all that physical contact that they made really spoke volumes. But I feel like their relationship growth was on a deeper level than physical touching. The fact that, like, in the beginning, Caitlyn says to Vi, I would be crazy.
What mad world?
Yeah, to trust someone like you. And she didn't say to trust you, she said someone like you.
Yeah.
So she just has this vague idea of the type of person that Vi could be.
Yeah.
And based on that, she's like, I don't trust you. And then later she has that quote where she says, if this is going to work, or something like that. Not an exact quote. But if this is going to work, then we'll have to trust each other.
But you have to trust, Yeah,
we'll have to trust each other. And then later, there's a scene with Echo, and Echo says, Vi tells me I can trust you. So I have goosebumps right now talking about this.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, like, these characters grew close on a deep emotional level, and I feel like Caitlyn is just so I like and respect this about her. She's so sure of herself and has the self-respect to where she doesn't need that same kind of reassurance that Jinx would. Yeah, because Jinx is the one who's all the time like needing reassurance that Vi's gonna be there, that her sister's not gonna leave.
She's not secure at all.
That she's good enough, she's strong enough, she's capable enough. Whereas Caitlyn knows that she's good enough, in spite of the fact that her family tries to stop her, in spite of the fact that she doesn't get along with the other enforcers, in spite of the fact that she's treated with kid gloves for being a Kiraman, like, in spite of all of that, she still is like, this is who I am, I'm gonna be who I am, and it takes a lot of chutzpah to be like that, really. It takes a strong person, and that's who Caitlyn is. She doesn't need that.
No.
She doesn't. Yeah, and Vi is, I feel like Vi's the same Vi. She's a little bit, she has her own stuff that she's processing, and if you, like, remember I rewatched the whole show to figure out, like, okay, so we watched the show twice, and then I watched it a third time, where I just fast forwarded and only watched the scenes of Caitlyn and Vi. And what I found out, I like picked up a few things, but if you notice, like, one of the things that I noticed watching them is Vi is all the time, like, I do think she cares for Caitlyn, but I think that she really has so much going on in her life that she almost, like, can't get out of her own head. Like, of course, Vander gave her a lot of responsibilities. He was like, you're responsible, you're the leader. So he gave her this sense of, I'm in charge, I really better be taking care of my shit. Right?
Yeah.
So that's how she is. But even like when Caitlyn and Vi are laying in bed together and having this really sweet moment, Vi is sharing about her past with Jinx. Like, it's a real sweet, tender moment between the two of them. But it's because she's opening up about her story and her stuff. So all of their stuff, like, I feel like Vi just has so much about her own backstory that she's still weeding through, to where I think that she doesn't have the space in her life necessarily to give Caitlyn her full attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share about this article, about Vi and Caitlyn being valid?
To me, it was done very well. It was done beautifully. I couldn't ask for more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I completely get what they're going for, and
The choke raider
yeah.
scene. Yeah.
And I really can't wait to see what they're gonna do in season 2. Well, we all know it's gonna be drama, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's something else I wanted to say, and I totally forgot.
Was it about this?
What it was. Yeah, it was about this. It was about their hug scene, about the two of them. No, I can't remember. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, remember when this was the first time that we watched it, and the breakup scene happened.
Yeah.
Which, like, notice if you're watching this right now, you didn't even question. You're like, oh, I know what the breakup scene is. Yeah, it's a breakup scene.
It's a breakup scene.
Somewhere we saw there, like, oh, it's a breakup scene right at a Hallmark.
Yeah.
It's true. It's just like a very typical breakup scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when Caitlyn asked, what about us? And you said to me, she just said, what about us? That's relationship talk. And you know what my first thought was? Like, why do you even have to say that? Of course it is. Like, to me, it was just so clear and so obvious that this was becoming something special, something significant, and that now Vi was walking away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, like, of course, like, that's so clear and so obvious. So I think that moment also, even though it's like them taking a step away from each other, but it's also very defining, because up until then there wasn't really a mention between the two of them in that way, like that would really make you think, oh, there were a lot of touches,
yeah,
a lot of sweetness, a lot of softness, a lot of hey cupcakes, and I don't think you call a friend cupcake unless you're also like, probably I could see like another real femme girl, hey, like, hey cupcake, what's up?
Something like
but
that.
But like from someone who has a little bit of I don't know, like someone who seems like they could swing a hammer, kind of lesbian, like when she's calling a cupcake, it means something different, you know, for someone like Vi. So yeah, there was a lot of that led up to it, but I feel like that was the most defining for Vi to be walking away from Cupcake, and Cupcake say like, what about us?
Yeah.
She's not, I didn't at all think that she was saying like, but we're such good friends. Like I didn't get that at all.
No
I did
way.
see someone ask that. It was a guy in one of the Facebook groups on it. He was like, so when Caitlyn says this to Vi, does she mean their friendship or does she mean more? And to me, I didn't even question it.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I wanted to say that's like general overall about this article and about other people who are kind of questioning like what is going on with these characters, what are their motives, what are they feeling, what are they thinking. To me, that fact that you have that interpretation left up to really guess and wonder, I feel like that's one of the coolest things about Arcane, is that they show you a lot of things, and there's a lot of things that they don't say, and they leave it up to you to figure out and interpret. And I think that it's cool that people have so many different interpretations about what's going on, because to me it makes it clear that they didn't spell it all out for you, and in a way it makes them more real.
Mm-hmm.
Because in relationships, like there have been different, especially when like you're dating someone new, you don't really know what it means when they say certain things.
It's true.
Yeah, and like not just dating, but getting to know someone new.
Yeah.
You don't know like their them-isms. So I think that makes it so much more real. That's part of what makes it real, is like we feel like we're getting to know them and their them-isms, and the characters who are meeting each other are also getting to know each other. And that's just what's so fun. That's what gives us so much to talk about. We have already a couple videos giving our interpretations and our reviews of what we think was going on, of what we think was happening. But I'm sure there are people out there saying that they think, and I've seen already people saying, and obviously this article too, like a lot of things that we disagree with. And I think that that's really cool. It leaves a lot for us to talk about and really enjoy trying to take apart. Like I'll be over in the other room and you're in here gaming and I'm like, honey, I just thought about something new. I just thought about another theory. I thought about another thing that could have happened, been going on in the show. And yeah, I think that's a huge credit to the show. The fact that they left it vague. It makes them seem like actual people. Actual people, like it's not everything's all tidy and tied up.
No.
Like they are in like happier ever after movies and shows and stuff.
Or Hallmark movies.
Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to say about this?
Nah. You pretty much covered everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Easy,
Just have me here.
Just have you here.
Yeah.
Just know exactly what I'm thinking.
So overall, I mean, I think that it's interesting that this article was written.
Yeah.
And I think that it's interesting to know that there are people, and like I said, someone from a Facebook group I'm in too.
That's true.
People who are questioning, is this really a relationship, or what does this mean? I find it really interesting because I didn't think that, so it's cool to just find out what other people are thinking.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Yes, so that's all we have for you today, and we look forward to connecting with you all soon. We have so much more to say, so many more videos to make, so excited, and we're sending you so much love. Till next time.
Laters.